Is your team winning in week 4 of the 2025 NFL season? I think I have the answer, so let's go ahead and dive on into my week 4 predictions. Now, before we get into these week 4 predictions, let's go ahead and take a look at where our standings are after week 3. So, my dad is in first right now at 36-12. Me, ChatGPT, and my way too early predictions are on its tails down by 3 games at 33-15, and then Grok is rounding out the bottom at 29-19. Now let's go ahead and dive into these games. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, we have the Seattle Seahawks going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. This game is going to be a fun one. It really could go either way. Arizona having some injuries, Seattle just up and down a little bit, but still more up than down. That being said, I have the Seattle Seahawks. My way too early predictions has the Seattle Seahawks. My dad has the Seattle Seahawks. ChatGPT has the Seattle Seahawks, and Grok, in a medium confidence move, has the Arizona Cardinals. Up next, we're going to top of the morning to Yolanda, Ireland for the Dublin game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game going to be a fun one over in the Emerald Isle. It's going to be back and forth. The way the Steelers have been, it is really a toss-up for this team. I think you know who I support, but I don't know that I have full confidence. But that being said, I am taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this. My way too early predictions took the Minnesota Vikings. My dad is also taking the Pittsburgh Steelers. ChatGPT is taking the Minnesota Vikings. And in a medium confidence move, Grok is also going to take the Minnesota Vikings. Up next, we have the Washington Commanders going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. This is going to be a fun one to watch. Yet again, we don't know that Jaden Daniels is going to play. I think Marcus Mariota is still going to get the start this week. But Atlanta has really been an up and down team. I haven't really been confident in their offensive capabilities. That being said, you had Washington come in. Mariota came in last week and played fairly well for the Commanders. So I am a believer. I think Washington is going to get this win on the road, even if Mariota does still play. My way too early predictions, however, took the Atlanta Falcons. My dad is taking the Washington Commanders. ChatGPT is taking the Atlanta Falcons, but it's very low confidence on the Falcons. And Grok is going to take the Washington Commanders, and by contrary, it is very highly confident in Washington. Up next, is this even a game? The New Orleans Saints going to the Buffalo Bills. Let's just go through these predictions. I got Buffalo. My way too early predictions has Buffalo. My dad has Buffalo. ChatGPT has Buffalo at a high confidence, and Grok has Buffalo at a high confidence as well. Up next, we got a game that I think really will be an amazing game to watch. It's a shame that we don't get this game because I would love to stream coverage of this one. The Cleveland Browns going to Detroit to take on the Lions. The Browns have been showing that they are a defensive monster. They are an offense away from being true contenders. They showed it last week, especially when they held the Green Bay Packers to 10 points. They held the Joe Burrow Bengals down to 6 points in the first half. I mean, I think it was 6 in the first half, but either way, the defense has been the strength of this team. That being said, though, I'm still taking Detroit. The Lions are just the better team, in my opinion. They're more well-rounded. But the Lions, if they get exploited on defense, watch out for the Browns. My way too early predictions is taking the Lions. My dad's taking the Lions. ChatGPT is taking the Lions in a high-confidence move. And Grok is taking the Cleveland Browns in a low-confidence move. Up next, we got another game that I think could be a very good one. The Carolina Panthers going to New England to take on the Patriots. But let's be real here. The Patriots did put up a good fight against the Steelers. The Panthers fresh off their first win of the season, 30-0. Carolina really does have potential, in my opinion. But New England has been showing more promise. Drake May's been looking pretty good this season. So I am taking the New England Patriots. My way too early predictions took the New England Patriots. My dad's taking the New England Patriots. ChatGPT is taking the New England Patriots, and Grok is taking the New England Patriots with a medium level of confidence. Up next, we got Jackson Dart making his first start as a pro, and it's going to be against the Los Angeles Chargers. Good luck, buddy. I think it was too early to put Jackson Dart in my opinion. I would have rather seen a switch over to Jameis for a few weeks until Jackson Dart would hit more of a softer part of the schedule. I know it's kind of ironic to say, given it's the Giants' schedule this year, one of the hardest in the league. But I think that putting him in week 4, 3 weeks, riding the bench, I think it was too early for that. That being said, the Chargers just a high-flying unit in all regards, so I am taking the Chargers. My way too early predictions is taking the Chargers. My dad has the Chargers. ChatGPT has the Chargers at a high level of confidence, and Grok has the Los Angeles Chargers at a high level of confidence as well. Up next, we have a game that I almost decided to stream, but I chose to stream another one for different reasons. The Philadelphia Eagles going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers, a battle of two 3-0 teams. This is gonna be a fun one. The Eagles coming off of an electric win over the Rams. The Buccaneers just cruising their way into victory the last few weeks. But remember, I don't think that Mike Evans, he's a bit questionable. He's week to week right now. Philadelphia having a couple injuries of their own, but I feel like the Eagles they have more of an it factor. The Bucs are going to be that team that's going to scrappily get wins and still win. But the Eagles, I think, are going to be the team that's going to be a bit more graceful. That being said, I am taking the Eagles. My way too early predictions is taking the Eagles. My dad's taking the Eagles. ChatGPT is taking the Eagles, and Grok is taking the Eagles in a low or medium confidence move. Up next, we got a fun one here. The Tennessee Titans going to Houston to take on the Texans, a division rival game. The Texans and Titans both hungry for their first win. And as much as I want to say the Titans will win this, I just think that the Texans are the better team, and it is in Houston. If this was in Tennessee, maybe I'm taking the Titans. But because it is in Houston, I am taking the Texans. My way too early predictions is taking the Texans. My dad's taking the Titans. ChatGPT is taking the Texans. And Grok is taking the Texans in a high confidence move. Up next, we got the one that I am looking forward to as well. The Indianapolis Colts going to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Will Indiana Jones keep his presence and his strength going? Well, remember that Rams defense is a formidable unit, and the Rams offense is no slouch either. So this is going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, but I do think that the Rams defense will come up big and stop Indiana Jones dead in his tracks. So I have the Rams. My way too early predictions has the Colts. My dad has the Rams, ChatGPT has the Rams, and Grok has the Rams in a medium confidence move. Up next, another fun one. This is really going to depend on how the Niners' injuries come into play, but it's the Jacksonville Jaguars going to San Francisco to take on the Niners. This is a big one here as the Niners they've been magically willing their way to 3-0. They're trying to get to 4-0. The Jaguars have been a scrappy team all season. Can I say they've been great? Maybe not, but they've been pretty good. They've been pretty good when they need to be. So that being said, though, I am taking the Niners. They are getting Demarcus Robinson back from a 3-game suspension. I know him as a Ram. He was a really good player. So I think that this is going to be a huge boost to San Francisco's receiving core. My way too early prediction self is taking the Niners. My dad is taking the Jaguars. ChatGPT is taking the Niners. And Grok is taking the San Francisco 49ers in a low confidence move. Now we got another good one here. The Kansas City Chiefs at home taking on the Baltimore Ravens. This is gonna be another instant classic. The Chiefs 1-2 fighting to avoid the dreaded 1-3. The Ravens 1-2 as well, trying to avoid the dreaded 1-3. But I feel like the Ravens have been the better and more consistent team. The Chiefs really only getting their first win against the Giants, and they didn't even really look good in the first half against the Giants. It was, I believe, 9-6 at halftime. And it only took until the second half and Russell Wilson throwing it away on 4th and goal for the Chiefs to really solidify this win, and it was their defense. Meanwhile, the Ravens have been a lot better. Their 2 losses have come to the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. That speaks a lot more than the Chiefs' losses, who have been to, I believe it was the Eagles and the Chargers. You know, I feel like the Chiefs in their win didn't really look as good as the Ravens did. So I am taking the Baltimore Ravens. My way too early predictions took the Chiefs. My dad's taking the Chiefs. ChatGPT is taking the Baltimore Ravens in a low confidence move. And Grok is going to take the Baltimore Ravens in a low confidence move as well. Up next, we got another fun one here. The Chicago Bears going to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders and gonna gamble away their season potentially here. The Bears, I do think that they are the better team right now. I feel like the Raiders have a lot more flaws. They really are not really playing as well as I would like to see. The Bears have had that issue as well, but last week they looked a lot better. They looked like the best team I have seen in Chicago in years. So that being said, I am going to take the Chicago Bears. I think the momentum was going to keep rolling into Vegas. My way too early predictions is taking the Bears. My dad's taking the Raiders. ChatGPT is taking the Bears in a low confidence move. And Grok is taking the Bears in a low confidence move as well. Now we got the game of the week. The Green Bay Packers. Micah Parsons returned to Dallas against the Cowboys. This is going to be a fun one, but let's not beat around the bush. The Packers are by far the better team. They're coming off an ugly loss to a team that they should have handled easily in a lot of people's opinions. So that being said, I think Green Bay is going to come out with a vengeance and steal this game right from the opening kick. My way too early predictions is taking the Dallas Cowboys. My dad's taking the Green Bay Packers. ChatGPT is taking the Dallas Cowboys. And Grok is taking the Green Bay Packers in a high confidence move. Now we're moving on to the 2 Monday night games, the first one being an absolute slop fest. 2 0-3 teams, the New York Jets going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Now, keep in mind, Justin Fields has not been returning as quickly as teams were hoping, as the team was hoping from concussion. The Dolphins played really well against the Buffalo Bills last week on Thursday night. They're going to be more well rested than the Jets. So that being said, I do think the Miami Dolphins will pull out their first win of the season, especially because it's in Miami. My way too early predictions is taking the Miami Dolphins. My dad is taking the New York Jets to get a win. ChatGPT is taking the Miami Dolphins, and Grok is taking the Miami Dolphins in a medium confidence move. And last but not least, we got the Cincinnati Bengals going to Denver to take on the Broncos. This is going to be a fun one. Jake Browning, can he basically get back to the form we expected to see him in after Burrow went down? That I don't know. I feel like the Broncos are just the better built team right now, given their quarterback situation. And I feel like the Broncos are just going to mop the floor with Cincinnati pretty early if Jake Browning doesn't step up. So that being said, I am taking the Denver Broncos. My way too early predictions is taking the Cincinnati Bengals. My dad's taking the Denver Broncos. ChatGPT is taking the Denver Broncos. And Grok is taking the Denver Broncos in a medium confidence move. Now, before we get to, streaming schedule, closing out the video, again, I did this last week. I do feel it is very important, especially in the time we are in right now, to spread the word of Jesus and to basically, get the word out there. So I've been doing a little bit of a verse of the video for last week and this week as well. I have something that I've kind of prayed over, something I've been reading through. I've been reading through the book of John. So that being said, I am going to be reading out John 16:33 for this video. So John 16:33. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace, but take heart, I have overcome the world. This is a huge reminder to Christians everywhere and even non-believers that this world, no matter how dark it may be, our home in our life is not of this world. It is of the heavenly plane. It is in heaven with Christ. So again, just a quick little reminder there for you guys. I pray you guys read your Bibles, get into the Word. It's very important. I've been doing that recently, and I've been feeling a lot of change in a positive way. So I can't recommend it more than enough. But that being said, I am going to close out this video with the streaming schedule for this week. I was hoping to stream all day Sunday. I had something come up that I'm not going to be able to. But I am going to be streaming second half coverage tonight, Thursday Night Football, of the Seattle Seahawks going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Then on Sunday at 1 p.m., remember how I was talking about I was almost going to stream Eagles Buccaneers because it's going to be a good game? Well, it hit me. My goal this year is to stream coverage of every team at least once. And we get the Saints this week. They don't have a primetime game, so I am going to be covering the Buffalo Bills hosting the New Orleans Saints. Then we're going to be covering Sunday Night Football between the Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys. And then on Monday, we're going to do some early coverage of the Jets and Dolphins. But we're primarily going to focus, especially when the game starts, on the Cincinnati Bengals going to Denver to take on the Broncos, again for team coverage reasons. Well, that is going to do it for me today. If you guys did enjoy, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, as it does help me out a whole lot. Remember, we are on the road to 250 subscribers. It would be absolutely awesome if we could hit that before week 6 ends. That is like a kind of a small goal I've set, which would be absolutely mind-blowing if we could do it. I can't be doing it without your guys' support, so I greatly appreciate it. Also, drop a comment down below. Who do you have winning this week? I respond to all my comments, so keep me honest. Test me down in the comments. And with that, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a good one.